Hey, have you ever wondered what the rich and the wealthy are doing that you're not? You probably have. There's lots of articles about this, and if you wanted to start building the habits that lead to wealth, well, you'd have to understand what those habits should be. You'd have to understand what the millionaires and billionaires do different than what you do. So, the rest of this video, I'm gonna uncover 6 laws, 6 lessons and habits of the wealthy that you can start today. And these are not difficult. So if you really study the habits and you study the lessons and the laws that the wealthy follow, they come down to some very simple, fundamental things. The first thing that you need to understand, which I was taught by my mom without even knowing I was taught this, is you have to pay yourself first. Now I know this is cliche and you think, oh, that's no big deal. They call that savings. Wrong. Because you're not taught to pay yourself first. You're taught to pay your bills first. You're taught to pay your creditors first and your debts first. Your needs are put last on the list. You're not taught to pay yourself first, which is why the first thing you need to understand is exactly this. But we got to put a number to that. So if you're going to pay yourself first, which means for every $10 you earn, you need to pay yourself $1. That's right. Do the math. For every 10 you earn, you pay yourself $1 before you pay anyone else. That's 10%. This is the bare minimum. You want to be wealthy? If you violate this first law and you pay yourself less than 10%, you're never going to be wealthy. I'm sorry to break the bad news for you, but you can't get there if you don't pay yourself first. Now, once you follow that first lesson, and once you've mastered the first lesson of paying yourself first, you can move on to the second law. The second law is quite simple. Your money must work for you. Now, this is different because most people out there, they believe that they need to work for money. And they're going to tell you that that's exactly what you need to be doing too. You'll be led to believe that trading hours for dollars is the only way. But that is not the case. So this lesson is one of the most important ones because your money must make more money for you. In order to do that, your money has to be working for you all of the time. So, law number 2 is your money must work for you. Build the habit that when you pay yourself first and you start amassing that money, because that savings, that money you kept, now builds up, that money can't just sit there. Don't give up control of that money. Don't give it to somebody else to manage. Take that money and make it go to work for you. And there's lots of ways to do that. And I've covered all those ways in other videos on this YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to this channel and go back and find the ones on how your money can work for you. But let's move on to the third. This is the most violated law today. This is 2022. And the third law of wealth is to protect your wealth. I know that seems so simple. But it's not. Because most people aren't protecting their wealth. They're out there doing stupid things. And how do you protect your wealth? It's quite simple. You invest in things that you know, like, and understand. You stop taking the FOMO and you stop taking the temptation because most people, folks, most people violate this law because most people make financial decisions based heavily on emotions and not on logic. So if you can train yourself to not base all your decisions on emotions, because emotions are temporary. So if you can stop making emotional-based decisions and you can then start avoiding temptation and start avoiding the FOMO, the fear of missing out, then the rose-colored glasses will come off. You'll be able to start making decisions based on pure logic instead. And because of that, you'll start seeing things for what they really are. And you'll be able to avoid some of the pitfalls that come along with emotional-based decision-making, which brings me back to this law. Protect your wealth. Moving on. The fourth law. This one's actually quite simple, but yet another one that's heavily violated today. So people out there are making emotional-based decisions. They're investing in things that they have no understanding of because somebody promised them a high return. Somebody promised them some fictitious return. What I'm going to urge you to do is to be realistic with yourself. Be realistic with the returns. Stop seeking unrealistic returns because if you're not realistic, then you're greedy. And when you're greedy, your money will not be yours anymore. So the fourth law is very simple. Seek realistic returns. The slow and steady path, the nice, easy, consistent path to wealth is always the best one. Sure, can you get lucky? Yeah. Well, you can go to the casino and get lucky too until you're not anymore. And then it's all over and you're starting over. The best way, and what the wealthy do, is they seek realistic returns. They educate themselves. They get themselves to a point where they know, like, and understand what they're investing in. The fifth law that you must understand is that everything you do, everything, I don't care if it's your business, in your personal life, everything you do needs to be done to solve other people's problems. Because, there's another dynamic to money and another dynamic to wealth. And I think most people forget this. And it's people, folks. It's people. Which is why you must learn to give generously without conditions. Because what is money without the ability to change people's lives? This law says that everything you do needs to be done to solve other people's problems. It's no different than what Zig Ziglar said. He said, you will get all you want in life if you help enough other people solve their problems and get what they want. Folks, that's it. That law could be a standalone law all by itself. Give generously without conditions. Now, as we wrap this up and put a bow tie on the 6 laws, the 6th one is quite simple. Everything you do should be to create a legacy. Because contrary to what you think you're working toward, take yourself out of this. Do you have children? Because I do. Everything you do puts you a step toward your legacy. What will you leave behind when you're gone? How will everything that you're doing benefit them, our children, when they need it the most? You need to be thinking about this, because everything you do every single day creates a legacy. And I don't mean a legacy of how much money's in the bank, what cars are in the driveway, what kind of house you live in. I mean a legacy of what people will remember you for, the kindness, the generosity that you did, the times you gave, all of these other laws that you followed. These are the most important lessons and laws. And these are the same laws that the wealthiest families, the wealthiest individuals have always followed. So let's recap the 6 laws real quick. Law number 1, pay yourself first, no less than 10%. Law number 2, your money must work for you. The 3rd law, protect your wealth, invest in things you know, like, and understand. And then that moves us on to the 4th law, which is don't seek unrealistic returns. Be realistic. Number 5, everything you do should be to solve someone else's problems. Learn to give generously. And the 6th and final, which is almost an automatic if you follow the other 5 laws, but the 6th, create a legacy. Folks, if you like this, you're going to love this video right here, the money multiplier method. That method will give you the ammunition and the machine and the process to follow where all 6 of these laws can be plugged in. So folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let's practice that 5th law. I want you to give. And here's how you're going to do it. You're going to give by subscribing to this channel, and you're going to like this video. And then up top, click that little alerts button so that you're notified every time I put another video out. Thank you so much. Stay classy, friends.